So I think the best place to start this would be around 5 years ago, which is when it was like early 2021, I think. So it was like four-ish years ago maybe. And this is when I got my first full-time job. I'd just come out of college and I got a job as a postman, which was kind of cool. It was definitely a brand new experience for me. I'd never had a job before. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And at that point in my life, I wasn't the happiest. I think I had my good moments, but I was sort of under a crippling video game addiction, and it completely messed me up socially and in terms of actually having a life, because I was just in my room all day eating junk food, playing video games up until 3 a.m., like the usual stuff. It was becoming quite a problem. Like, I feel like when I was younger, I never really worried about it that much, and I was just like, yeah, there's nothing to worry about. And then at this point, I'm like 18 and it's still my life, and it was definitely concerning. And I think getting the job definitely sort of forced me to come out of that a little bit, but the main thing that came along at the same time as that was this idea of self-improvement. It was kind of like a thing overtaking the internet, especially like, I don't know where it came from on my end. I just started watching YouTube videos and all of a sudden there's just these crazy like motivation like montages. There's like videos, people talking, like yelling down the mic saying you gotta do better, do this, like work on yourself, like, and it's just massive wave. It came so popular, and I fell right into it. I think that was always going to happen. Like I was saying, I sort of never really had a real purpose in life. I'd been very lazy. I was pretty depressed. I didn't like myself, and I'm getting these videos telling me, hey, work hard, do this, go to the gym, build a business, become successful. You'll get loads of women, you'll get loads of money, like you'll be really happy. Trust me, bro. It's Yeah, it was exactly what someone with very little hope and understanding of life wanted to hear. That, and it worked for a while. To be fair, I think I started watching these videos. I got myself a gym membership. I was going crazy in the gym. I fell in love with the gym. I started posting a bunch of videos trying to build up this music business. It's all stuff that's not bad. It was I became a better person. I definitely improved a lot in certain aspects. It's just whether those aspects are actually important or not. I think some of it was very valuable, and I part of who I am now is partly because of that. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, that whole realm. I think mixed in there is a lot, especially if you're like me, because I've always had quite an indisposition of hating myself and never thinking I'm good enough. And the more and more I made my life about achieving some sort of level of success or some level of money or some physique in the gym, it just became very consuming very quickly. And every day I would wake up with the feeling that I wasn't good enough. And every time I would work really hard, I'd absolutely brutalize myself every single day until I'd just reach crazy burnouts. And then I'd crash down, and then I'd feel terrible, and I'd hate myself, and then I'd pick myself back up, and I'd do it again, and I'd do it over and over and over again. And ultimately, I was just trying to satisfy this feeling inside that it wasn't enough. And no matter which goal I reached that I set like a year before, where I thought, if I just get there, then I will be happy. Then there was a new goal, and I wasn't particularly enjoying any of it. There were some good moments, but on the whole, I was just on the floor, and it all comes from this deep personal place of I'm not good enough. I need people to view me in this way. I need to view myself in this way. I need to be validated by this. Otherwise, life is meaningless. And so it became a daily checklist of I have to do this. Otherwise, my life is pointless. When I didn't do it, my life was pointless. When I did do it, I still didn't feel good enough. And it sucked. So that went on for a good 2 or 3 years. I think that sort of started around 2021, and it took me to about 2024, sort of June 2024. I think that took me to May 24, I think. So at that point, I'd kind of reached an all-time low. I think it was so obsessive the way I'd been pursuing this self-improvement thing, stuff I was filling my head with. And I didn't enjoy life anymore, and there was just nothing I could do. I was striving so hard to make myself happy, because that's all I wanted. Like I said, I wanted money, I wanted the nice house, I wanted the wife, I wanted the anything. Like, I just wanted to feel okay within myself, and I didn't. And yeah, I think that's when things started to change. I don't still really remember where it all came from. I have a really good friend who I've known since I was 7, and he has started talking to me about this religion thing, this Christian thing that he'd been sort of stepping back into. He'd sort of been part of it his whole life, but he'd definitely be really like going for it over the last period of time. And he just started sharing with me, and at the time I thought nothing of it. I was just like, yeah, good for you, this sounds great. I've never been that bothered. I've always been very inherently annoyed when people talk to me about religion. I'm not really sure why. I just thought I just didn't understand it, and I thought it was all just a bit cringe, and I don't even know. There's just misconceptions that I had, and it was just something that I never cared for at all. And it's not that I didn't think there was a God, I just didn't care if there was a God. It was just a level of ignorance. I was just like, I'm here. I don't know why. I'm not sure I'm ever going to figure out why. I'll just do the best I can while I'm here. And that felt like good enough for me, so I just went on with it. But yeah, it just started creeping in everywhere, I feel like. My friend, like I mentioned, was talking to me about it, and then I'm watching TV shows, and there's a whole series of it based about God and Christianity, and then I'm hearing people as I walk by on the street, there's people talking about it, or I'm walking past like a church and there's people in there and I can see them, or, there's just stuff kept happening. And I know now this was God drawing near to me. He was pulling me in. He was like, come on. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but it's easier to see that now, as with everything in life. So yeah, I guess the major thing that I did was, after so much of this just like being everywhere, another time my friend told me, oh yeah, me and our other friend, we're starting this Bible in a Year podcast. You should join us, or we've already started. They'd already started like a month ago or something, I think. But yeah, they said, join in, start from the start. And I just felt inclined to say, yeah. I think I'd reached a point in myself, which I think a lot of people will relate to, where you just feel like you've tried so hard for so long to figure stuff out on your own. Maybe you're doing something wrong, because I wasn't happy and I wasn't content and I didn't know what I was doing. And I tried so many different things. I was trying to fill my whole life with various different addictions and the self-improvement thing. And I just felt at a point where I was like, I've really got nothing to lose. I actually partly, part of me still wanted to start exploring this realm of Christianity from a self-improvement point of view. I never planned on believing in Jesus. I just wanted to further better myself. But there was also this sort of part of me that just didn't like who I'd become, and felt like it all just made sense. And then this is why God's timing is perfect, because in my head it was just the perfect time, and I just had no real doubts. I was just like, this is everything I'm looking for. I want a community. I want to feel welcome. And this is another thing, because when you're on that self-improvement, a lot of it is very lone wolf. It's do your own thing. It's you're better than everyone else. So I find a lot of the time that was what I was making my life about. I was like, oh, I'm better than him. Yes. And that's so sad. Because that's just not important. And it was all, again, just part of trying to fill something inside of myself. Everything would be okay if I was just better than all these other people at this stuff. And yeah, it makes you very arrogant and alone, I think. And you're sort of like, oh, the world's terrible. It's such a bad place. No one's working hard on anything. Oh, it's awful. And part of that's true, but you're going at it from a mentality that's just all about you. And I didn't like that that's who I'd become. Because I always thought I had quite a soft heart and a care for other people, and that's what I'd always sort of held myself to, and I'd completely lost that. So it all just made sense to me that I could, explore this new world and maybe learn some new things, because I was really fed up with everything that I'd been trying to do up until that point. And so I started reading the Bible, or listening to the Bible. I started listening to Genesis, which is where it started, obviously. And I didn't really understand what it was on about, if I'm being honest. But the main thing I think it did was get me thinking about it. And I remember just going on walks, listening to it every morning. And I'd sort of end sitting on a bench waiting for it to end. I live by the sea, so I was sort of looking out into the sea, and I just have memories of looking into the clouds and being like, I'm just thinking about God properly for the first time. I'm like, is there a God? I don't know, is there something out there? It really started those first initial sparks in your mind that get the ball rolling, and from that point everything just kind of fell into place. My friend was so excited that I'd been listening, and he had the idea to arrange an Alpha course, which we ended up doing online because we live quite far apart, and it would not have been practical for us to do it in person. And I think he knew I was a bit too afraid to sort of go and do one at a church, and I would have wanted to do it with him. So we ended up setting up this Alpha course online. He had the videos. We just jumped on a video call, sometimes ate some dinner or just had a little catch up before, and then watched the videos. And Alpha videos are great. If you don't know, they're sort of targeted at new believers, non-believers, sort of just a base understanding of what God is, what the gospel is, what Jesus is, who Jesus is. It's just a base understanding. It covers so many questions, and the actual course in person, you get to sit around a table and talk with other people who are in similar places, and also some experienced people, and it's really good, and it's really open, and it's free. It's brilliant. I could gush all day about it, but yeah, so we were watching these videos online, and I was just having a great time. Everything in the videos was making sense. I was like, so I didn't even understand the concept of Jesus and God were the same thing, or that they were even kind of related. I was just like, yeah, Jesus is some guy that died a while ago. I was learning so much, and I was just hearing the good news for the first time. And it's not what I thought religion was at all, because I just thought it was just people believed in God. They had to follow a bunch of rules because God said so. And that was about it. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing this massive rescue love mission of someone dying on a cross for me. And yeah, I sin every day, and I hate myself as this is something that I struggle with a lot. I view myself in such a negative light. And then there's this message telling me, I see that, I died for that, and I forgive you for everything you've done. And I'm just like, what? Like, it's not what I thought it was at all. I thought it was just we're better than everyone else, we believe in God, we do what he says, yay. Like, it's just, I was just blown away by the gospel, and it's just not what I thought it was. And I never gave it the time, and I felt so silly for never giving it the time. And I was like, man, if someone had just told me, like, maybe I would have been interested, man. Like, it's crazy how much it baffled me that that's what it was actually about. And so we just kept watching the videos. I was sort of forming this belief in my head. I was like, I'm getting behind the fact that Jesus was definitely real. God, yeah, we're getting there. I still couldn't really comprehend how there was a God that I couldn't see or feel. Little did I know you could definitely feel him. Yeah, it was a nice progression, I think, where I was becoming really open to it. And I, started saying a couple like really quick prayers just on my own. I didn't know it was him. I was just like, hi God, not really sure if you're real or not, but yeah, I'm enjoying learning about you. Like, just random little stuff. And I was maybe not sharing it, but like, I was really happy with the fact that this was something I was exploring. And the time came where my friend finally said, you should go to church, mate. Because I should have. And I'd been sort of secretly waiting for him to say that. I think at some point I was going to say, I want to go to church anyway. And I knew he was going to sort of say, you should go to church. So I was just kind of waiting excitedly. I was instantly on it. I was like, yeah, sign me up. Something I've always, I don't know, it's weird because I've always struggled socially and never been that okay with being around people and talking to strangers, but I was so deprived of community and connection because I just locked myself up for so many years that it was so exciting to me. And it was like what I'm experiencing when watching these videos and then talking to my friend about it, I can have in this massive place. And so we found a church and I went there on my own. Obviously he lives apart, but he helped me find the one that I go to. And that is probably the best day of my life. Because, I don't know, I felt at home the second I walked in that building. And everyone was so nice. And like I said, having been surrounded by such a sort of negative, arrogant, only caring about myself mentality for so long, the second I walk into this building, you've got this guy coming up to me and saying, oh, you new here, so good to see you, like, there's some people over here, you should go talk to them, they'd love to meet you, like, how you doing, how's your week been, what, you new here, like, and I was just like, what? Like, people are like this? And I don't even know, because I stood there as we started singing at the start, and the band played, and I was just like, this is cool. I didn't sing. I felt really embarrassed, and I was like, I don't believe in this, and I feel like everyone here believes in this, and I'm like a weird person out. So I just kind of stood there with my eyes closed awkwardly, but got a bit sad, I think, or like emotional. I started tearing up at one point because I was just sort of, the music was beautiful, and I was like thinking a lot about where I'd been and who I'd become and sort of how drastic a difference this was. And so I had a little chat with the people sat next to me, lovely people, but I was sort of terrified and didn't know what to say. Struggled socially. And so I kind of just left, and at the end I got invited to an extended evening worship. And again, I was just like, I don't know what, I just had to tell you, I was like, I want to do all of it. And so I was just like, straight away, I was like, yeah, I'm going to that. And I showed up in the evening, and again, I kind of just stood there for the whole time. And the music was beautiful, and I didn't know the songs, but I didn't want to sing. Like, I felt awkward a little bit, but I was really sort of also enjoying being there. And I remember at the end, that is probably about 10 minutes before they ended, I think that's the first time, well, I know. That's the first time I encountered Jesus, and I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know what the Holy Spirit was. I didn't know that you could have a living relation. I still thought this was religion. I didn't know I was entering into a living relationship with a living God. And so I experienced this thing, and the only way I know to describe it to this day, like, I no longer felt alone in my body. I just felt like I'd reached a new level where there was just peace all over me, and I was not on my own anymore. And I was like, what is this? I love it. It was the best feeling I've had, and I was just like, whoa. And I spoke to someone at the end, and I was just sort of like, I've encountered this thing, and it felt like I was sort of not alone in my body. I don't really know what that is. And the biggest smile came on his face, and it's just like, that, sir, is the Holy Spirit. And I was like, what now, please? And he kind of explained a little bit about sort of Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God, the Holy Trinity, whatever. And explained a little bit to me more about, okay, so Jesus died, and now he lives inside all of us. And what you've just experienced there is an encounter with Jesus. And that blew my mind. And like I said, for the conception that I was entering a religion compared to I was entering a relationship with God, I was already happy enough as it was. And then I was like, this is so personal, this is so intimate. If I can feel this feeling again, like, you're telling me when I pray, I can talk to God, and he's listening, and he's in me, and I can feel him at any time. Like, it was mind-blowing, and I just felt so loved and so at home and so welcome. And I was like, this is where I should have been my whole life, man. And I went on from then. I had a little period where I was like left to sit with that, and I started reading the Bible way more. And I was away. I was actually staying at my brother's house for 3 weeks, and I couldn't go to church because I had a gap between house tenancies. And so I was staying at my brother's house for a few weeks, and I was just sort of reading the Bible, listening to worship music. My mate made me a worship playlist, and I was like so consumed by this, and I was like, just like so excited to get back, go to church. And I think before I even managed to go to church again, I actually ended up going to New Wine Festival with my friend, again, an absolute legend. And that day is the day that I gave my life to Jesus. It's the day that I understood what that meant. The whole day had this theme of surrender. This was the hardest thing for me because surrender is... I'd built this concept that I was in control of everything, and I was in charge of my actions, and I still had this great longing to reach this level of success. It's still built in. The foundation of that was strong from years of chasing that, and I was so convinced that I knew what was best for me. And then that day was really tackling that in my mind, that okay, surrender, give up control. And I'm really logical and literal, and I was like, right, so what am I meant to do? If I'm meant to surrender everything to Jesus, what does that mean? Do I just sit down every day and do nothing because I'm not in control of my life? I was like, I didn't understand. And ultimately the whole day I was really stressed about it, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. all these people seem to be getting something that I don't get, and I'm like, oh man, like, it's difficult. And at the end of the day, not as a term of phrase, but literally at the end of the day, in the evening worship, they were playing a song called Make Room, which is a brilliant song. And the point of the song is saying that you make room in your life for Jesus, and you look at your life and you say, at this point, where I've led myself up to by making my own decisions and following my own path has led me to despair, self-hatred, and pain. What have I got to lose if I sing the words, shake up the ground of all my religion, tear down the walls of all my tradition, your way is better? I think those lyrics might go the wrong way around, but it's saying your way is better to Jesus. And I didn't even know what his way was. But when you position your heart, what I've grown to understand is it's not that literal sitting in a room and doing nothing. I mean, sitting in a room praying and waiting for God to talk to you is definitely helpful. It's not saying quit your job and just do nothing all day, mate. Like, yeah, good job. When you position your heart and say, I don't even know what this entails. I don't know what you're going to do if I surrender. I don't know what that looks like. But I'm willing. I'm willing to say, I trust you. If you tell me to do this, or if you do this in my life, you know better than me, mate. And when you position, surrender is freedom. I think people get afraid of surrender. Because like, oh no, I need control. I need to know what's going to happen. I don't. What if I surrender to God and then he takes this person away? Really, surrender is freedom because you are giving him every burden, the weight of every decision, the pressure to make sure my life ends up where I feel like it needs to go. I'm saying, eat, all gone. I don't need to feel any of that burden anymore because it's in his hands. And when you position your heart to that surrender, the weight lifted off you is insane. And not only that, you're welcoming Jesus into your heart. And I think so much, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, but what's actually going to happen if I surrender? When you give it all to Jesus, stuff starts happening. And things change in you, things change around you. And you don't need to know why, you don't need to know what, because it just happens. Like, if like, every day, if I just say to God, you know better than me, if I'm in that constant heart posture, you can't really go wrong. And the weight is off you, and you just start enjoying life. And you just feel happy, and you feel loved, and you feel looked after. And it's beautiful. So that was about a year ago now, and so much has happened since. But that was the real start of when it all happened, and I was, obviously started going to church every week. I joined the community. I started going to like life groups and Bible studies and a bunch of social stuff, and it was everything I've ever wanted. So yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble about my story for a while. There's a lot more to it, I think. There's more I could say about what's happened in the years since I've been saved. If you'd like to hear anything more, let me know in the comments if there's anything you want me to talk about. I'm thinking of making more videos like this. I've got a lot to waffle about Jesus. He's a pretty cool guy. And yeah, thanks for watching. God bless. See ya.